Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I know it's been a little while since I talked to you, but I've had real life, and it is what it is. However, today we're going to be talking about a topic I know a lot of you guys don't necessarily like hearing. However, this is 100% necessary. Now, if you look at what I've talked about as far as politics, Donald Trump, the Russian collusion, Hillary Clinton, Comey, the emails, Loretta Lynch, my track record's pretty damn good, and I'm not just saying that to toot my own horn. I'm just saying that because I think it's 100% relevant to the conversation we're about to have right now. So something is about to happen in the United States that few people are ready for, and most people don't even realize what's going on. Now, we have to understand what happened leading up to right now. And we're going to go back to before Donald Trump even got elected president when it came to the FISA warrants, okay? And we're going to build from there, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how we got ourselves into the situation we're in and where I think things are going from here. And it's going to get very interesting because there's a lot of information that I have to give you that's not necessarily being talked about on Fox, CNN. Nobody's talking about this stuff, because it's very easy to do the legwork to find this information. So if they started talking about it, it'd become very apparent to the public very quickly what happened. So the best thing for them to do is distract us from it. So I'm going to do my best to fill you guys in. Now, we all know that Donald Trump was accused of colluding with Russia, correct? Now, what I want to tell you is the Democrats and Republicans alike were guilty of exactly what they're accusing Trump of doing. Now, this is where things are interesting right from the beginning. This is like a Hollywood movie. You couldn't write a script better than this, okay? And I don't think anybody would believe this if you even put it in a movie, because it's so damn unbelievable. So what happens is Fusion GPS ends up purchasing a dossier from a guy named Steele. Now, Steele is a citizen of Great Britain. However, he has ties to Russian informants who work for the Kremlin, okay? Now, this is where Steele originally received that dossier. Steele was also brought in front of the Great Britain's courts and asked if he would put his name on this dossier and say that the information was valid. Steele went in front of the courts and said, there is no way that I can validate this information. I am not putting my name on it. Okay, so let's take the next step here. This dossier manages to filter its way through Fusion GPS, Hillary Clinton's foundation, and manages to get into the hands of John McCain. Now, John McCain personally delivers this information to the FBI. And what the FBI does with this information afterwards is go to the secret FISA courts. And when they go to the FISA courts, they use the dossier as a base of evidence to get permission to spy on Carter Page and General Flynn. And this is during the campaign, okay? This is unprecedented. Now, this is where things get interesting even more, because, like I told you, Steele already went in front of Great Britain and said, I cannot predicate or put my name behind any of this information. I can't validate it. Here's the catch. In order for you to get that FISA court warrant, you have to sign off that everything inside of that warrant is justified. Every piece of information, every piece of evidence is substantiated. You have verified it to the best of your ability to be true. Okay, so Rosenstein signs that piece of paper. Loretta Lynch was involved in that FISA warrant getting issued as well as a bunch of other people, going all the way to the top, according to sources, that Obama himself knew that this was going on. So as Obama's sitting there knowing that this was going on and all of this was being done, we have something going on in the CIA that makes this story absolutely crazy. So I told you that Steele provided the dossier to the FBI. Now, what if I told you that the CIA had that information before the FBI ever got their hands on it? Now this becomes relevant because it means that they were parallel constructing a case against Donald Trump for collusion. So what the CIA had done was the CIA went and they took this information from the Steele dossier and they start inserting it into the media through leaks, okay? Now when the FBI sees all this information in the media, it verifies everything that they have in their dossier because it's the same document. And this is what they brought before the FISA courts to get evidence, to get the FISA warrants approved for General Flynn and Carter Page. It's absolutely mind-blowing, but it gets even more nuts because if you look at Lisa Page and no relation to Carter Page, but Lisa Page and Strzok and the text messages they were sending back and forth that clearly show that they wanted to obstruct the election of Donald Trump and then more or less find a way to get rid of him once he was elected. Well, what's interesting is Lisa Page gets in front of a congressional committee behind closed doors, and she was flabbergasted when she found out that the CIA had this information prior to the FBI. Okay? Now, it is 100% entrapment to use a parallel constructed case against somebody. In essence, the CIA literally gave the FBI all of the evidence they needed to go to the FISA courts because they were literally feeding them the same information because it was coming from the same document. Okay? And then on top of that, there was even more illegal spying going on. They might have predicated the FISA warrants with this false information, right? And went that route. But on top of it, there was even more spying going on. There was a little known program that was originally established by the NSA called the Hammer. And what this guy who programmed this Hammer did was he devised a way to break into the systems of, say, let's say Chase Bank is an example that he used. And instead of breaking into Chase Bank over and over and over again, what they would do is, say, once every 6 months, they would break in and they would download the entire fucking database. So that way you had fresh material, right? You would do it periodically so you weren't logging in every day. Download the entire database. That way you can get information on anybody you want. Now, if this tool is being used by the NSA and it's being used properly, you have absolutely nothing to worry about at all. However, if this special access program gets into the wrong hands, you're screwed, right? Well, that's exactly what this guy says happened, is eventually the NSA ended up giving this program to a different intelligence agency. Now, there's reports that Obama, Biden, and several other people on his cabinet and in his staff were actually in the war room using this Hammer to spy on political adversaries. Now, I cannot validate this. However, there are several sources saying it, so I figured it was worth mentioning. But I'm going to get to how Obama's implicated here and how Kamala Harris might have very well sealed his fate as well. So let's just say for some reason we can prove that Obama knew about all of this from the very beginning. And there's very good sources saying that he was involved not only in the Hillary Clinton scandal, but that all ties right into covering his own ass. And that is exactly why they did what they did against Trump, because let's face it, if Donald Trump gets into office, which he did, and he finds out everything that's going on, which he did, Obama's going to be screwed, because if you can prove that he was involved in using the Hammer to do illegal spying outside of congressional approval, that's high crimes, like no joking matter. Now, there's no precedent for ever trying and ever putting a former president on trial for crimes that were committed during his presidency. Like, look at Nixon, for example. We could have hung him out to dry, and if you think about what happened in comparison to this whole scenario with Donald Trump and the collusion, like, Nixon was drops in the bucket compared to what's going on here, but he was vilified, and even as vilified as he was, he stepped away and we let him fade out into the sunlight, right? We never prosecuted him. Now, Kamala Harris, interestingly enough, was asked a question, and she was asked, if you get elected president and we can prove Donald Trump committed collusion or he was involved and implicated in any way in these accusations, say obstruction, etc., would you allow anybody to would you allow the DOJ to prosecute Donald Trump after his presidency was over? And interestingly enough, she said, it's not my job to get involved in what the DOJ does. If the evidence is there, the evidence is there, and justice needs to be served. Now, that's the right answer. The president by no means should ever get involved in DOJ prosecutions or cases or evidentiary findings, right? Now, that's not what Obama did during his presidency. He did the complete opposite. He got involved in everything the DOJ was doing. Loretta Lynch, Secretary of State, met with Bill Clinton on the tarmac shortly before Hillary Clinton's case was dismissed by James Comey. And more or less, there's rumors that there's tapes out there saying they worked out a deal where if you don't prosecute Hillary will give you the Secretary of State job once she becomes president, more or less saying she's going to keep you on and she's going to let you do what you... Sorry, Loretta Lynch was the Attorney General. It doesn't matter. I believe that they offered her the Secretary of State or offered her to keep her Attorney General position. However, that didn't end up happening because Donald Trump won. But there's rumors that there's tapes of this conversation happening. And there is no way in hell that you're going to tell me that both those people in such power circles ended up at the same place at the same time on the tarmac coincidentally and just happened to talk about grandbabies and golf for 35, 40 minutes. Didn't happen, okay? And there's no way in hell that inside this power circle that people aren't recording a lot of what's going on. I mean, once you get that high into a system like that, blackmail, manipulation, all those tactics become common practice, okay? You have to be a manipulative, conniving, maniacal bastard to get to that point in life. And you just have to play their game in order to survive, period. And that's why you see a lot of people ultimately getting corrupted and just joining the opposition, right? Because it's easier to join them than fight them. Donald Trump's taking a different approach. So we're going to get back to Kamala Harris. So like I said, with her sitting there and saying, I would allow my DOJ to prosecute, what does that do? What does that do if Donald Trump's DOJ says, hey, our guy in Connecticut here, Jeff Durham, just found out that Obama knew about everything that was going on and was directly involved in covering his own ass, okay? Not only did he cover up the Hillary Clinton scandal with the emails and didn't allow anything to happen with that, he personally worked with the Hillary Clinton campaign, Democrats, covering up Fusion GPS, etc., and used a special access program known as the Hammer to do freaking whatever. You have no idea what he did. Like, they broke into Chase Bank and took every single bit of information. God knows what other freaking access they have. Look at all the information Google and Facebook have, for example. Like, let's say they freaking use the Hammer with something like that, man. They could look into any of us. And I don't know any of you guys, man, but if the FBI just spent freaking 2 years looking into my life, dude, I'd be fucked, okay? So I don't know how the hell Donald Trump has managed to be squeaky clean. I just don't. I think anybody watching this channel right now would probably be in jail for something. Just saying. So Donald Trump knew long ago he was going to run for president, and that man plays to win. So I'd be very scared for any one of his opponents, okay? But we're going to get to the great bit of everything that's going to happen here, is that we are going to see prosecution going on. Now, there's a guy named Nadler. Nadler was just arrested for having child pornography on his phone, as well as producing and selling child pornography. So where it gets fucking insane is that this guy runs in that power circle I was just talking about, including Donald Trump has personal ties to him. Now, everybody wants to say that Donald Trump doesn't know what's going on, or Donald Trump doesn't know what's going on. A lot of people just in general turn a blind eye to the whole Pizzagate, the whole child pornography, the whole church scandal. They turn a blind eye to the pedophilia going on right in front of them, okay? And the reason I'm addressing this is because it's all one giant scheme. Like, this is all tied together, my friends, because it's all the same people. It's all the same players. Their names constantly pop up over and over again. Everybody involved in the Trump collusion scandal is all in the same circle. And what's interesting is no matter who these people are, they always seem to be in the same structure of people, the same network, but the same people are consistently on opposite sides of the fence. So when you look at Donald Trump, like, yes, he was friends with Bill and Hillary Clinton, he was friends with Epstein, he was friends with all these people. But if you look at like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and Epstein and Nadler and all of these guys, Podesta, the artwork that he's into, and you compare them to Trump, there's no comparison. I think Trump went to Epstein Island twice, and I think Trump saw enough to know that I'm going after these fuckers. And if you know for a fact that that's going on, and Donald had to have, because we know Epstein was arrested for this, and this is exactly why he bought that private island. And let's face it, man, it's a sad injustice that Epstein isn't rotting away behind bars from his original conviction. However, how can you sit here and tell me in good faith and conscience that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are innocent, as well as Huma Abedin and her husband Anthony Weiner there? Fuck, man. Hillary Clinton has Huma Abedin as her right-hand lady, right? Meanwhile, Huma Abedin's husband is out there talking to frickin' 14-year-old girls, sending dick pics to him. Huma's a frickin' bombshell, dude. Like, so what I'm saying is, even looking back in history, go look at the royals from England. Go look. Pedophilia is rampant in history. Okay, it's been going on forever, and the more power you get, the more and more common it becomes. So what I'm saying is, I don't think it's a giant leap to say everybody inside of that circle is implicated in one way or another. I don't know, man. That might be the real reason Donald Trump decided to run. It might have been a culmination of everything, and that was the straw there. I don't know. Okay? But what I'm saying is, if you start seeing people like Nadler going down for child pornography charges, what information does he have other than child pornography? These people are going to be trying to save their asses, okay? Lisa Page already sang like a fucking canary. Told him everything. There's a bunch of people flipping. The rats are fleeing the ship. Here's the problem. We're going into an election. If Donald Trump decides to go after these people before the election, which I don't think he's crazy enough to do, we're in trouble. If he does it after the election, that's great. But it's going to be a process, okay? And I hope these people go to jail. I think we're going to see some justice done. I don't think we're going to see the likes of President Obama getting arrested. I highly doubt we're ever going to see Hillary Clinton getting arrested, okay? But if we can make those people fade out into the sunset, that's fine with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with that. Like, just giving these people justice would be great, but unless we dismantle the system that underlies it, we are completely screwed, okay? So you let Hillary Clinton disappear, okay? But you make sure you know where they are. Might as well be in jail. Because what's the difference? Even if we send everybody to Gitmo was just redone. It's a freaking resort. These people are never going to do justice like we want them to see justice. It's more important that we dismantle this system at the very foundation. And it's important people realize and wake up that this isn't a fight that me and you are fighting for us, okay? We've lived in this system. We know what this system does. We know how it's soul-crushing. We know the stress that's put upon us from having to go to work and bust our ass for a menial wage. We know what it's like to have manipulative people use us on a daily basis. That's what this entire society is based on, okay? We need to break that cycle for our children. Period. The end. When you're telling me that Obama is sending emails, ordering 60,000 hot dogs, and that's normal, when the FBI has a list of code words where pizza and hot dog and condiments are used to reference acts of sexual activity with a child, something's wrong. Go read some of those Podesta emails and tell me something is not wrong. And like I said, all of these emails pertain to a lot more than just that. These people are constantly in the same circles and constantly corrupting each other. And constantly we're seeing the same problems. So yes, I think we're going to see some justice take place. But don't count on the big players going down like you think they are. That ain't going to happen. Donald Trump is not stupid enough to put Hillary Clinton on trial and send half of the country into a frenzy. He's just not. Because I'm going to tell you right now, we're fucked after Donald Trump leaves. Period. Okay? This is my biggest concern, guys. If justice is done, great. Here's my concern. I've already told you, I like Trump because of the ideas that he represents. I'm not going to sit here and die for Donald Trump himself, okay? But I will die for what that man represents. Now, the issue we have is Donald Trump is a guy that has energy, okay? He charges people just by speaking. He's one of them people that he might not be able to play a football for shit, right? But you put him on that sideline, you put him on that field, he might not be good, but he's going to raise the level of play of everybody around him just because of the kind of personality he has. That man is a natural-born leader, okay? He inspires stuff in people that they haven't felt or seen in a long, long time. Who do we have after Donald Trump? Who? Look at the problem the Democrats have right now with their election going into 2020. Who do they have? Biden? Clinton? They have nobody. Donald Trump's winning in 2020, hands down. You don't have to worry about that. What the fuck are we going to do afterwards? Okay? How many bandwagon Trump supporters are going to bail from the Republican Party? Because let's face it, man, there's no difference between a Republican and a Democrat, and that's why we elected Trump. Because Trump's neither. He just ran as a Republican. Who are we going to elect? And I'm telling you right now, just look at the history of the electorate in the United States, man. After 8 years of a Republican, the chances of electing another Republican again aren't very good. The only hope we have is the Democratic Party completely dismantling themselves, okay? But then we run into the problem of the old guard from the Republican Party seizing control of that opportunity and reverting everything back to right where we were, because let's face it, they're no different than the left at this point. They're all working together to fuck Trump over. Why do you think nothing's gotten done in Congress without Trump signing an executive order or it being something that the people would flip out about not passing? Like, let's face it, these people have to vote yes on some of this shit just because their jobs depend on it, not because they want to. So I'm going to tell you right now, I think this is a solution, and I think it may be the only thing that's going to work. I think we need a group of candidates that are going to run in multiple parties, okay? And what would happen if you get two people who share a similar platform that are on opposite ends of the spectrum, and we go with the straight populist mentality? We set aside the issues that are dividing us, like gun rights. Don't make a big deal out of it. You don't make a big deal out of abortion. Like, yes, it's something we all care about, right? And it's all something that we might not agree on right now. But let's face it, we do have a lot bigger issues than wasting our time and resources fighting over something that is so visceral inside of us. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's one of the most important things to take care of, but I know that for productivity, going after that first isn't the way to handle things. If I've learned anything in life, it is a lot easier to compromise with somebody if you are used to compromising with them prior. You know what I'm saying? If you've negotiated with somebody 6 times, it's going to be a lot easier the 7th, right? So if we can manage to set aside our differences and get, I don't know, like 6 people, 3 on each side, on each party, to run on a damn near similar platform, and what happens is once these people start debating and getting knocked out one by one, they endorse the other people in their coalition that are running on the same platform. And then eventually you're going to have the 2 candidates that are going to face off head to head in the election. One from the Democrats, one from the Republicans, right? And what you do to prove to these people in the United States that we're out for your best interests is you have to have people like me and you doing this, for one, and speaking the truth, okay? And there has to be power in numbers. That's why we need like 6. The more the better. But you have to trust these people too, okay? When you get down to these last 2 candidates, you don't run a normal person as your VP. What you do is you tell the people of the United States, you can elect me, you can elect him, it doesn't matter. Because if I win, he or she's going to be my VP. If he or she wins, I'm going to be their VP. Because we're standing for the same thing and we're united. And I think that you would knock it out of the park with that message. And I honestly think that's the most effective thing to do, because it proves sincerity. You're never going to be able to match Donald Trump's energy. You're never going to be able to recreate what we recreated in 2016. Okay? You're just not. And I'm not about electing another Trump into office, because I don't want the same thing that happened with the Clintons and the Bushes. No, that's not what we need, my friends. I hope you guys appreciated this video, and I'm going to do my best to get more to you. Like I said, real life came up. I don't much feel like talking about it, but I'm going to do my best to get you guys more of these. I know I'm going to lose subscribers for this video, and that's fine, but you guys needed to hear it because I have a good track record, and mark my words, there's something around the corner that most of the country isn't ready for, but now you will be. Enjoy your day. God bless.